My favorite teacher wasn't at elementary, middle school, or high school. I met my favorite teacher actually at the university at Cal State Long Beach. When I got to the university, I thought I was really good at writing. Turns out I got a reality check actually on the first day when I got there. I was really confident when I turned in my first project. I thought I got an A for sure. I didn't. Needless to say, but my confidence took a little bit of a hit when I got my paper back. My second class of the day was with Professor Chin. When she first came in, a lot of us thought she was actually a student. She was a very young teacher. Everyone really seemed to like her. She was very assertive and had high expectations for all of us. Part of the expectations for us was class discussion, which was a huge part of our grade. And her class was unlike anything I've ever taken before, especially since the first day she told us that would be the only time she'd actually be up there talking to us throughout the semester. For me, that was terrifying. I really wasn't used to talking in the class, and I didn't really like to. I was very self conscious about the things I said during class. So before this, most of the time I was just pretty quiet. She would assign a hefty amount of reading throughout the week, and every time I would go to the bookstore, I'd get comments about how many books I'm buying. Not only was the reading very lengthy, but it was very challenging, and on top of everything else, we were expected to discuss it in the class. Every day we would sit in a circle and we would discuss what we read the previous week. It always took us a couple like minutes or a couple seconds for us to start talking. The first couple times was terrifying for me, but I finally dug deep and mustered up the courage to share my ideas. The more I did it, the more I became comfortable with it, and finally, after a couple weeks, it was no big deal. Eventually, a lot of what we took in class during the discussions, we had to actually start putting on paper, and it helped mold our essays. I started to see a huge difference in my grades throughout the semester. As I went on, I started to improve more and more. That I could attribute that to a couple things. First, we didn't just get our papers and not reflect on it. We actually kept a portfolio for our classes that we actually reviewed and actually reflected on a lot of the writing that we did. Professor Chin was really good at giving us a lot of constructive criticism and pointing out things that we can do to improve a lot of our papers. She would meet with us regularly throughout the semester. It wasn't just like something that was an obligation. She actually cared about how we were progressing throughout the course. Because of Professor Chin, I started to think about a lot of things I never thought I'd find myself thinking about. But not only just thinking about it, but discussing it with other people as well. I mean, like I told you before, I was very, introverted, but this kind of broke me out of my shell. I never realized what sort of impact Professor Chin's teaching methods would have on me. Before I started Chin's course, I was at a very low point in my life. I never realized what sort of impact she would have on me. The positive impact that Professor Chin had on me was just uncanny. I never thought, you know, the outcome of it would be what it is. Um, in her class, none of us ever felt like some sort of a part in an assembly line. She really focused on helping us and improving us. Um, I mean, the only thing I can say is I hope one day I'm half the teacher, she is.